How should we decide who to vote for in an election? To answer this question, we must first recognize that we're voting not just for people to take care of our neighborhoods, but members of parliament. Members of parliament have these roles and responsibilities. They make laws, they hold the government accountable, and they scrutinize how money and resources are used and distributed. What are qualities that make people suited to take on these responsibilities? To do these tasks well, members of parliament have to show up and speak up, listen and consider, scrutinize and debate. They must become familiar with a range of issues that matter to Singaporeans. They should be willing to ask tough questions and consider multiple perspectives to problems. They need to think critically about existing or potential solutions. From our perspective as voters, we should want leaders who are able to understand and put our needs and collective aspirations as top priority. Given that we're a diverse country made up of people with varying interests, we hope that members of parliament represent this diversity, not just mechanically by virtue of their ethnicity or gender, but substantively in their worldviews, values, interests, experiences, and expertise. Members of parliament must be willing and able to listen to people and then speak up for both majority and minority interests. Should character matter? And if so, what is character? Character and personality are not the same thing. Precisely because MPs have specific jobs to do, lawmaking, keeping government accountable, financial scrutiny, we need them to be ethically anchored. MPs should have ethical convictions toward fair play, due process, respect for diverse viewpoints, and the greater good. These are necessary to the work of building a democratic polity. This does not mean that we expect MPs to be perfect, but as leaders, they should be empathetic, sincere, competent, and reliable. They should put public interest before personal gain. In times of difficulty or conflict, we want our leaders to show integrity and moral leadership, who don't just go with the flow of popular opinion, but are able to shape public opinion in service of protecting the marginalized or defending the greater good. What information do we need to make our decisions about candidates, and how will we get it? In the current media environment, we have limited information about candidates. We can easily get drawn into judging them based on relatability or likability. We end up learning about candidates' hobbies or pets or humble backgrounds. These are distractions. Being a member of parliament is a serious job, and we should have expectations of our representatives that match up to that job. So this election season, when we encounter candidates, we should ask them questions so that we can evaluate them on qualities that matter. What are challenges you see in Singapore society? What issues do you care about? How do you intend to prepare for your role as an MP? For those who have already been MPs before, we can ask them, what kinds of questions have you asked in Parliament? What other issues do you intend to raise in the future? What roles have you played in shaping the substance of key pieces of legislation? How will you figure out how to represent Singaporeans from diverse backgrounds? We can also look up MPs' track records. There are some citizen-led efforts to keep score. For example, CAPE, the Community for Advocacy and Political Education, has created Parliament trackers where you can see MPs' attendance in Parliament and how many questions they've asked. SG Mental Health Matters is another group that does a policy tracker. Are elections really all that important? And should we take our individual votes so seriously? Elections are not the only time we are or can be participants in politics. In a democratic society, we should aspire to be active in all sorts of ways between elections. Still, elections are important. Whether or not we witness MPs' actions on a regular basis, we are selecting people who make important decisions that do affect our everyday lives and well-being. Elections and our voting decisions matter. We should think of our votes as having an impact on the kind of society we want to be. We should remember that we're not just voting for people to take care of municipal issues, but members of parliament. In the election season, when bad behaviours and personal attacks tend to rear their ugly heads, we should hold leaders to high standards and expect them to behave with dignity and respect. And finally, while voting is our constitutional right, we should not take this for granted. Ultimately, having this right is also a privilege.